Despite being one of Microsoft's biggest IPs, Gears of War news has been extremely quiet for the last few years. Since the launch of Gears Tactics in April of 2020, Microsoft has been tight-lipped about what's next for the series, and many of us were hoping we'd learn something at one of the Xbox Summer Showcases, although we were out of luck on both June 11th and June 13th. But that doesn't mean there's nothing to talk about regarding the future of Gears of War, and more specifically, the rumored remastered collection that has seemingly been in the works for a few years now. What is up, everybody? Chaos here. Today, we're going to dive into a very simple question. What happened with the Gears of War remastered collection? Where is it, and can we still expect to see it in the near future? Be sure to let me know in the comments if you think this game is real. Drop a like on the video. Stick around for the entire thing because we have a lot to cover. Before we get started, check the link at the top of the description if you need a restock on anything G Fuel this month. There are so many promos and specials going on when it comes to tubs, collector's editions, you name it. Use code CHAOS and get up to 30% off. If you use it, definitely tweet at me so I can show you some love as well. Now, in case you've been out of the loop this entire time, I'm going to catch you guys up to speed really fast. About a year and a half ago now, there was a leak floating around that was backed up by a number of trusted industry insiders that Microsoft themselves were working on some kind of remaster collection for one of their IPs, one of their best IPs. At first, it was unclear whether the collection would be Fable or Gears of War, but it was eventually confirmed to be the latter, and it was reported that the collection would basically be the Master Chief Collection, but for the Gears of War series. It bundled all of it together, campaigns, multiplayers, co-op modes into one experience while beefing up the graphics and the frame rate and also bringing the original trilogy to PC, because in case you forgot, Gears of War 2 and 3, they never got a PC release. Sounds amazing, right? But after a number of showcases and a lot of radio silence, people started to lose hope that the Gears Remaster Collection was actually real, even though it seemed pretty obvious that it's in Microsoft's best interest to remaster and re-release the classic Gears games in preparation for Gears 6, as well as the fact it's just a slam dunk of an idea. We haven't heard anything official about the project yet, and the insiders have seemingly gone silent on us once again. Now, granted, there was quite a bit of disagreement between some of these insiders over whether or not the game even exists in the first place, but as of June 13th, the game has not been announced. It's become quite the mystery to those of us who have been following this story from the very, very beginning, especially when you have trusted industry insiders that can't agree. It gets kind of weird. Leading up to the big Xbox showcase on June 11th, there was once again a number of rumors floating around that Microsoft was going to show us the fabled Gears Remaster Collection at long last, and possibly even Shadow Drop it the same day. Since the Hi-Fi Rush Shadow Drop was such a massive success for them, why not? It didn't happen. In fact, Gears of War was never even mentioned at the big Xbox showcase, which I found very strange since it's still one of their biggest IPs, and there's at least one major Gear games in development as we speak. Even if the Gears Remaster Collection was fake the entire time, that does not change the reality and the fact that Gears 6 is in production right now, and it's been over 4 years since the last mainline Gears of War game launched. So the fact that the franchise was completely absent from the showcase, that's very weird to me. Now, some fans were holding out hope that Xbox was keeping the Gears Remastered reveal for the second Xbox showcase on June 13th, possibly as a surprise announcement, but sadly, that didn't happen either. Started getting kind of weird how little Microsoft is talking about one of their biggest franchises, and I'm honestly starting to get a little worried that the Remastered Collection is actually never going to come out. But I don't want to be too pessimistic here because I think there's still some explanations as to why we haven't seen it. Yes, I'm going to come up with excuses for Microsoft once again. I mentioned earlier that Gears Remastered will be a really good way to hype up the community and get people invested in the series again before the launch of 6, and I still think that is the plan. I do. However, multiple insiders have been reporting that the franchise developer The Coalition has been struggling with Unreal Engine 5, which is what they're building Gears 6 on. The last mainline Gears game was Gears 5. It dropped all the way back in 2019, so obviously fans are getting impatient for a new game, and I think it's safe to say the Coalition has been working on a sequel for at least a couple years now, but at some point during development, the decision was to hop over to the Unreal 5, and that seemingly has presented a lot of issues. It was also confirmed a couple of months ago that the voice actor for JD Phoenix, one of the main characters of the series, hasn't been contacted by anyone at the Coalition or Microsoft to come record dialogue for Gears 6, suggesting that the game is still in early production. Now, needless to say, Gears 6 is nowhere near ready for the public eye, and that may be throwing a wrench into Microsoft's plans to re-release the original trilogy. Now, assuming the Gears Remaster Collection is real, which I assume, it's safe to assume the game will launch about a year to 18 months before the launch of Gears 6. But since Gears 6 is reportedly still at least 2 to 3 years away, that could explain why Microsoft is so hesitant to reveal this collection. Frankly, I don't think they should be so strict about this. I mean, on one hand, I understand them wanting to release the remastered collection relatively close to Gears 6 so they can maximize the hype, get people back on board, introduce new people to the franchise. But on the other hand, the Gears Remastered collection would generate so much long-term hype on its own, it would still be a great marketing tool for the next game, even if it came out 3 years before. I mean, the Master Chief Collection has been out for 10 years, a decade, still has a massive player base. A similar collection for Gears of War would presumably hold fans over for a long time. So I really don't know if Microsoft should be so strict about only revealing and releasing it within a year or two window of the launch of Gears 6. The Gears community is in dire need right now. They need some hype. They need some hope to hold on to. They really do, or nobody's going to care about Gears 6 when it finally is revealed. But speaking of that game, trusted insider Jez Corden recently teased a little something about the future of that series, presumably Gears 6 as opposed to the remastered collection. In a response to someone tweeting about their disappointment following the lack of Gears news at the Xbox showcase, Corden simply replied with, "Their patience will be rewarded," in reference to the Gears fans waiting for some kind of update on the franchise. Now, when pressed about what he meant, Corden suggested that Gears fans will still be waiting a while before hearing anything, but he's heard impressive things about what the Coalition is working on, although, again, it's most likely he's talking about Gears 6 and not the remastered collection. Now, personally, I think the RC is being worked on by some other company while the Coalition works on the mainline game in the series, so this shouldn't have any negative or positive impact on the development of Gears Remaster, but I honestly wouldn't be shocked at all if the remaster collection is literally done, sitting on a shelf somewhere, waiting for the green light. Now, as for when this green light would actually be, I don't know anymore. I think we all know it's coming eventually, because it's too good of an idea for Microsoft not to greenlight, especially after the insane success of the Master Chief Collection. I mean, the MCC may have launched completely broken, but it has totally redeemed itself, and it's become one of Xbox's biggest first-party games, and it still has thousands and thousands of people logging in every single day. It's been a decade. Gears of War was never quite on the same level as Halo in terms of popularity and player counts, but back in the Golden Age, it was close. It was a really close second. In fact, the original Gears of War was the most played Xbox Live game of all time when it launched, before being dethroned by none other than Halo 3. So do not underestimate the power of a good Gears of War game and that community. But with Microsoft's reluctance to confirm the remaster collection, I think either the game is being held until Gears 6 is closer, or it's just genuinely not ready to be shown. You guys need to remember, it's totally possible the initial leaks of the remaster collection were just that it was starting development or that it had been greenlit, meaning there's still a solid chance the game isn't even close to being finished. But then again, it's also possible the collection is finished and Microsoft is just waiting for the prime opportunity to release it. And if that's the timeline we're living in, it's probably going to launch about a year to 18 months before the release of Gears 6. And since Gears 6 is seemingly facing development troubles, we might be waiting for quite some time. Now, I really hope Microsoft sees the value in releasing the Gears Remaster Collection as soon as possible, because I genuinely think it could be the next Master Chief Collection and remain relevant for a long, long time. Remember, the MCC, once again, coming up on the 10-year anniversary, and it's still popular. If Gears gets the same treatment, Microsoft could be absolutely rolling in it. The Xbox 360 was the go-to console for great multiplayer shooters, but since Gears of War was completely fallen off the map, something drastic needs to be done to revive it, and the Remastered Collection is the ticket. This is the way. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you soon.